better with the light or without the light. Okay, hello everybody. Today I am doing a live stream talking about Christmas movies, of course, because it is that time of the season. And I'm going to talk about pretty much every single Christmas movie I've seen, as far as I could remember them. I spent a little bit of time putting together here. Let me see if I could share my screen. I always forget how to do that. There we are. So, yeah, there we go. All right, so I've got a tier list ranking going. This is the first time I've ever used this website, but it seems pretty cool. You just kind of upload the pictures, and then you put them where you think they go. S ranking being the best and F being the worst. And I'm just gonna run through 70 something Christmas movies of all different types of genres. Some are arguably, debatably Christmas movies. Some aren't. Some of it comes down to just subjectiveness. But if you guys see or know of any Christmas movies that you don't see here, that's most likely because I haven't seen them. But these are all of the ones that I could find that I have seen over the years. And so we're just going to get right to it. I have a few movies here off to the side, the ones that I actually do own. I will show off. Excuse me while I get a drink. Okay. Hello to anybody that may be in here or may not be. All right, so we're just going to get it started. We're going to swap over here. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. Sorry about the bad lighting. I'll be working on getting my live streaming more sound, better sound, better video, all that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of getting my feet wet with it, trying to get comfortable with it. So, all right, without further ado, because this is going to take some time, sit down, get comfy. Oh yeah. We're going to go through the Christmas movies I have seen, and we're going to rank them. Let us see what we have got here. All right, so Day of the Beast, Dia de los Bete, or something like that in Spanish. Bestia, Dia de la Bestia. This movie's incredible. It takes place on Christmas Eve, I believe, and a pastor, I want to say. I'm going to get some of these details wrong, but not a pastor, like a priest at the time of the beast. Believes that the Antichrist is returning. Yeah, Basque Roman Catholic priest. And because he believes the Antichrist is returning, he has to go and commit as many sins as possible so that the devil, sees him on his radar, and then the priest could take him out. So basically deceive the devil, but he has to be as evil as humanly possible, which creates for a very funny black comedy. Day of the Beast is a very funny movie. It's a fantastic film overall. Honestly, I got to put that in S rank. It's one of the best. Calling it a Christmas movie is a bit of a stretch, but it definitely takes place on Christmas Eve, and it feels like Christmas in a lot of ways, but it is totally unlike any Christmas film that you've ever seen. So I'm going to put that in my S ranking. And next up, we have a film I've talked about before on a video years ago. It's called Elves. It stars, what's his name? The guy from Grizzly Adams. What's his name? Oh, something Haggard, right? Haggard. What's his name? Dan Haggerty. Oh, I was close. Elves was a very forgettable holiday Christmas movie that really doesn't show much horror. Some of the effects that it has are kind of cool, but it doesn't really dwell on them too much because they know they're not that great. It's a very forgettable movie. There's a siege at some point with the elves and Dan Haggerty. And it was forgettable. I'm going to give it not the worst in the world, but definitely not the best. I'm going to go with D. A, B, C, D. I skipped E and went straight to F. I'm doing the school rating system. So hopefully that works out. Next up, we've got Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2. I'm doing Part 2 before 1. Yeah, these aren't really in any order. So is what it is. Silent Night Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. About 25 minutes of the movie, I want to say, are flashbacks to the first film. So the film really is only, like, it's very short, and the new footage that we do get isn't that great. And like I said, I'm not a fan of movies that do this kind of thing where they recapitulate the story for the first 20 minutes of the movie just to, like, pad the film and make it longer. It pissed me off. A lot of people do like the second part. I just wasn't feeling it because of the filmmaking, the way it was made. But I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to give it a D right there with Elves. I might rather watch Elves, to be honest. Don't let the gun on the ornament, the awesome artwork on Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 fool you. It's not a great movie at all. Let's see. Then we have a Rankin and Bass classic, Frosty the Snowman. Frosty the Snowman was a jolly happy soul. I don't know the words. Something like that. Corncob pipe and a butt end nose and 2 eyes made out of coal. There we go. Come on now. Great movie, obviously a classic that I watch almost every year, either by myself. Usually with the family, we watch all the Rankin and Bass classics. And I actually don't think I have the Rankin and Bass classics here on Blu-ray. I believe they're at my mom's house because, again, usually that's how we watch them with the family. But Frosty, that's, top notch. Not quite my favorite Rankin and Bass, but I'm going to still give it a solid A. Home Alone 3, going right to the best of the Home Alone trilogy, quadrilogy. I think there's 6 now. Just kidding. Home Alone 3 is not the best, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for it. It is written by John Holmes. It does not have Macaulay Culkin or Joe Pesci or Daniel Stern, which really makes the film suffer. But it's not a bad Home Alone movie, not a bad Christmas movie. There's snow on the ground. It feels Christmassy. It takes place around that time. Alex Linz, I want to say, is the new Kevin McAllister. And I have a soft spot for this. Scarlett Johansson, very young in this, one of her early roles. I think it's pretty dark, to be honest. It's like, if I remember right, Russian terrorists or something like this that the kid is taken down this time. And he's got all these gadgets and technological gadgets and stuff like that, kind of keeping up with the times. I like Home Alone 3. I'm going to put it right in the middle at a C. I think it's a solid Christmas film. And let's see. Next up is probably my favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol, which is Scrooged with Bill freaking Murray. Bill Murray was born to play the role of a modernized, sort of yuppie, mischievous, scheming business executive. And everything about it, even the pockmarked, scarred face of Bill Murray really lends to this character. I don't know exactly how to articulate that, but it just really adds to the sort of down and dirty character that Bill Murray plays in this. He's so good in this movie. It has a great message, obviously, like all the Christmas Carol stories do. It sticks close to the book while really, really modernizing it and updating it for the 80s. And I still think it holds up today. I think it's a great movie. Honestly, that is S-rank stuff right there. Love Scrooged. One of Bill Murray's best movies, in my humble opinion. Next up, we have Harold and Kumar Christmas. Harold and Kumar Christmas I watch probably once every other year. I feel like I've not quite made it a yearly tradition, but I do love the Harold and Kumar movies, especially the first one. And to be honest, all of them are funny as hell to me. The third one is very crude, very irreverent, and that's why I love it. The guys are back with Neil Patrick Harris, who has more of a role in this movie. And Harold and Kumar Christmas is a great Christmas comedy, so I definitely recommend it. I'm going to put it in the B tier. Year Without Santa Claus, there we go. That's another great Rankin and Bass claymation classic. I'm going to put that in the A rank. Not my favorite. My favorite's yet to come. But I still love The Year Without Santa Claus. Putting some shorts, not many shorts, but a few shorts in here because they're so, Christmas shorts. There's a bunch of really popular ones people love and ones I love. So next up, we have Jack Frost. Not the Michael Keaton one. We have Jack Frost, the 90s horror comedy with a giant snowman that goes around killing people with icicles and all sorts of crazy weapons. It's funny as hell. It's a great time with a few friends. The effects are ridiculous, but there's a lot of great goofy gore and kills in this movie, and it definitely feels like a Christmas horror film. I really love Jack Frost, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to probably put that in tier B. The Santa Claus with Tim Allen, my favorite, Christmas curmudgeon. He pops up again later on. But I love the Santa Claus. This movie really, I'm very nostalgic for it, but I think as time goes on, I appreciate it in a very new light as I grow older. And the magic of Christmas is very well present in this movie. There are a few things that I'm not a huge fan of, that they kind of harp on a bit too much, like the Judge Reinhold character, things like that. But I really love the Santa Claus. I love when he starts packing on pounds and he starts losing his what would you say, his passion for sort of the business kind of selling toys thing that he does, and kind of bringing the magic back to Christmas. I really love the Santa Claus. That's got to be an A. Not quite S tier, but A for sure. That's a great one. All right, moving right along, we have Santa Claus is Coming to Town, it looks like here. That one I don't remember as much as Frosty or Year Without a Santa Claus. I get mixed up with this one, but I still do enjoy it. I'm going to put it in the B tier. Hello, kitty. The Lodge is a film I watched recently, or a couple years ago, maybe I should say, and it takes place around Christmas. It's a horror film. It's actually a Hammer film, believe it or not, one of the last decent Hammer horror films that they've actually done. But I don't remember being too thrilled by it. I know a lot of people were. It's a very claustrophobic movie. It's a bottle movie. It all takes place in one area. Remember the twist being okay. Yeah, it just doesn't stick with me too much. I'm going to put that in the C, right next to Home Alone 3. That rhymed. All right, next up we have Reindeer Games. This is another maybe stretch for some people, but I mean, they go around heisting in Santa Claus outfits, at least in parts of the movie. So you got to count that as a Christmas action movie, Stealing from the rich. I don't know if they're given to the poor. It's been a long time since I've seen Frankenheimer's Reindeer Games, but Ben Affleck, who else was in this? What's his name? Gary Sinise. I really do remember enjoying this film, and I think it was Frankenheimer's one of his last films. So I do need to watch that again, but I'm going to put that in. I do remember enjoying it, but I'm going to put it in the C rank because I haven't seen it in quite some time. Prancer, another Christmas classic that a lot of people love that I'm not too huge on. 80s, 1989. I'm going to put it in the C rank. It's been a very long time since I've seen, Prancer. Let's see here. Next up, we have Die Hard. Die Hard, obviously, is one of my favorite films of all time. I don't need to think about it at all. It's going in the S rank. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I've done this on my channel before. I've talked about it. Yes, it certainly is. It all takes place on Christmas Eve. Ho, ho, ho. Now I've got a machine gun. It's got jingle bells in the dark, sort of dark jingle bells in the score. It's got Christmas trees and lights all over the place. It is all about our hero, John McClane, getting home to his family for Christmas. Nothing more Christmas than that. It is absolute. It has Run DMC Christmas music. It was December 24th. They run December 24th. Die Hard is one of the best movies of all time, and definitely the best Christmas movie of all time. Just saying it now. That is my favorite. Nothing can beat it. It is the greatest. All right, next up, The Night Before is a comedy that I've watched every year for the last 3 or 4 years now. Starring Seth Rogen, Anthony Mackie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Great cast, great chemistry, very funny movie, good script. Sort of like one of those comedy of errors. Things just get more and more out of hand as time goes on. Seth Rogen puts in the performance of his lifetime as the soon-to-be married, drug-addled dude who I guess had partied a lot in his day, and on Christmas Eve these guys get together and they party with each other because they don't see each other often anymore. So it kind of, for 30-somethings like myself, I'm in my mid-30s now, 36, this really resonates with me in terms of going home, seeing your buddies, because you don't see them too often because everybody's got families. But Seth Rogen, I'll just say, takes drugs throughout this film, and it gets fucking crazier and crazier as it goes on. And he is just so perfect in this role, probably because he does a lot of drugs in real life. I'm pretty confident, at least weed, nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying he really nails this character. It is so funny. I'm going to put it in the A rank. If I'm being honest, this movie grows on me year after year. I really enjoy it. What is this? American Psycho? No, that's Black Christmas remake. Okay, that's what it is. This is the second remake of the original Black Christmas. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay. Let's do the original Black Christmas first. The original Black Christmas is one of the best horror movies, definitely, I would say, of the 70s. It's one of the best holiday-themed horror movies. It came out 4 years before Halloween. Bob Clark, one of the great diverse directors of all time. I really like Black Christmas. Great, creepy phone calling killer. All takes place around the Christmas time. Some good deaths. Amazing, palpable atmosphere in this movie. Plan to watch it this year. Awesome movie. Can't go wrong with Black Christmas. That's going to go in my A tier ranking. Hey, brother. I'm live streaming, so don't mind me. Next up, we have the Black Christmas remake. Not the one from 2006. The one from, I don't know, a few years ago. I want to say 2019. I recently watched this with a buddy named Larry, and we thought this was the worst, wokest film that we had ever seen, ever. It was really bad. I'm not going to go into details. It's just top to bottom. Every line is either smashing you over the head with some sort of idea, cultural or political idea. And the kills are non-existent. The atmosphere is barely there. There's a few Christmas lights here and there. It doesn't ever really discuss the Christmas season. It has nothing to do with the Christmas season. It's one of the worst movies I have seen in many years. That is an F ranking. Next up, Silent Night, Deadly Night. The original is a film that I do like. I don't love it as much as everybody else, but I do enjoy it. I think it is a bit of a Christmas horror classic, as Daffy Duck would say. But I'm not crazy about it. I think it has some really good bits to it. I definitely like it better than the second one. I'm going to put it in the C ranking. Definitely one I need to rewatch because wasn't feeling it as much as everybody else was. Next up is another stretch, Long Kiss Goodnight. I basically put all the Shane Black action movies that take place during Christmas except for Iron Man 3 because they're Shane Black movies and they all have Christmas themes to them despite as well as taking place at the Christmas season. So Long Kiss Goodnight, one of the best action movies of the 90s, Rennie Harlan, Shane Black. This is an A tier ranking if I've ever seen one. Gina Davis in top form. Sam Jack in top form. Great action, slow motion, takes place during the Christmas season. I'd have to think about possible Christmas themes that are in the film. I can't really think about any off the top of my head, but I'm sure they're there because Shane Black. Santa Who, a really bad Leslie Nielsen Christmas movie that Scrooge saw Scrooge last night for the first time, was let down. Hey, VG Master Cleveland, Jingle All the Way. Oh yeah, Jingle All the Way. I haven't talked about that one yet or Ernest, but I love those. Those will be coming up soon. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Don't have too much of a crowd today, but figure people will watch this on the replay or the archive. So back to the ranking. Santa Who is a Leslie Nielsen low budget straight to video Christmas film that I think was very forgettable and I don't recommend it. Leslie Nielsen has some funny bits in it. I don't know. I'm going to give it a D. A D for dick. Krampus. This movie was big at the time that it came out. I think its hype has sort of withered over the years, but it's still a good, solid Christmas horror classic with some amazing effects and some great, thick atmosphere. It has some, again, pretty heavy-handed political messaging that I think is handled visually heavy-handed because you have the blue team and the red team. But I think the message is there. It's sort of like what Twisters did this year with their red and blue and can't we all just get along? And I have a soft spot for those messages, being a political person, but at bottom being a person that loves people and want everybody to just get along despite our stupid little differences. I like when movies play with those ideas. So Krampus, great horror movie, good political commentary or cultural commentary, I guess. I'm going to put that in the B tier ranking because I haven't seen it in years. It might go up upon rewatch, but I'm not quite sure. Next up, we've got Claws, an animated film that came out 4 or 5 years ago that I remember really enjoying. Some of these I have to kind of brush up on, which is great. I could just do it on Letterboxd real quickly. Yep, 2019. This was a good film. When Jesper distinguishes himself as the Postal Academy's worst student, he is sent to Smeerensburg, a small village located on an icy island above the Arctic Circle where grumpy inhabitants barely exchange words. Jesper is about to give up and abandon his duty as postman when he meets his local teacher Alva and Claus, a mysterious carpenter who lives alone in a cabin full of handmade toys. Gotta be honest, I don't remember too many details from that movie, but I remember the animation being wonderful, the story being great, and really enjoying it. So I'm going to throw it in the beer. Jesus. The B ranking, B tier ranking. Next up, Violent Night, a really good Christmas action movie that came out a few years ago with David Harbour, directed by Tommy Vercola, I'm pretty sure. This is more like it in terms of Christmas action. There's another one coming up that rhymes that I wasn't too big of a fan of that came out shortly thereafter, Violent Night. But Violent Night was a fun movie with some really cool lore and some mythos to it that ties in the mythology of obviously Santa Claus, but does some really unique things with its story and with its lore. And I really enjoyed that for what it was. Kinetic action. Tommy Vercola is good at doing that. I'm going to put Violent Night in the B tier ranking. I really enjoy Violent Night. I think it's a very good film, possibly a classic upon rewatch. Next up, we have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is probably my favorite of the Rankin and Bass movies that came out in the 60s, the sort of, claymation, stop-motion style. I love it. It's wonderful. I know all the music from it still to this day. I remember in the 90s, we used to collect the little figures or the little stuffed animals that came out at CVS. My mom used to love those. But I have a lot of fond memories of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I think it's a great movie. I'm putting it in the S rank. All right, next up we have Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. If you guys want to see one of my early videos where I do what I used to call a riff review of movies, I did a film called Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. They were basically scripted reviews, were jokey kind of reviews and kind of cinematic at points. Go back and check those out. I have fun making those. Haven't made one in years, but I'd like to get back to it maybe one day. Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is one of the worst films I've ever seen. It is fun if you're with a group of people with illicit substances.
It's one of the worst films you've ever seen in a good way, though.
Yeah, but when I watched it alone, it was not that. Yeah, when I watched it with the family, it was fun. But the true test is when you watch these movies alone and you can barely stand it. So I'm going to put it, I can't put it next to Black Christmas. I like it better than Black Christmas. Yeah, I'll go with my brother. He's kind of right. It is fun to watch to an extent, but it is bad. I want to get it on Blu-ray, though. I'm going to put it in the D ranking. I have it on shitty DVDs. I know there's Blu-rays out there now. I can't imagine how good they could make that film look. It looks like it was shot with a potato. It's the worst thing I've ever seen on DVD. Next up, we have How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Well, we'll go with the animated one first. I mean, how can you go wrong with this? This is one of the greatest animated shorts of all time. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are something. I forget all the words. I
don't think anyone knows the ending of that.
Nobody knows the lyrics, but everybody knows how it starts. You're a mean one. And Boris Karloff does the narration in this movie and in this short, and it's fantastic. I can't imagine it with anybody else. Boris Karloff is the legend of the horror cinema, of course, Universal, things like that. Obviously, Frankenstein, all that good stuff. Why am I telling you? You already know. How the Grinch Stole Christmas animated is an S tier. The internet likes kittens. All right. Anybody in here? We got a couple people. That's all right. People watch this later. We've got How the Grinch Stole Christmas remake with Jim Carrey from 2000, which is growing on me as time goes on. I really love how expressive and eccentric Jim Carrey's performance is. Nobody else in the world could have done it like he does it. It is very funny, and it is Jim Carrey, but he also he adds something to his performance. It's not like Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura and those things. There's something highly physical and visual about this, and even disturbing about the way he moves his body and the way he moves his hands and his fingers. It is just really a remarkable performance, again, that nobody else could have done. And that really carries the film for me. I think the film is very atmospheric and exudes the Christmas spirit. Lights everywhere. I love the makeup. Rick Baker does the makeup in this film, who's known for doing Wolfman makeup and Planet of the Apes and things like that. And he's one of the greats. He does the makeup here. Taylor Momsen, is that her name? The little girl who grew up to be the punk rocker, really hot punk rocker, believe it or not. She's perfect in this role. Adorable as the little Who girl. She's so innocent. I don't know how she's just so perfect. Her and Jim Carrey, their chemistry is wonderful because the Grinch is trying to be nasty and mean, and he just melts when he's in front of her, just like the audience does. She has this twinkle in her eye, and a lot of her performance feels very organic and natural. It really ropes you in. It's very good. One of Ron Howard's better movies for sure. I think Ron Howard is a very good director. He's a generic director, but he does really solid movies, and Grinch Who Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey is a very good one. So after that whole preamble, I think I'm going to put it in the B tier ranking. I really enjoy it. It is a good film, turning into a classic in my humble opinion. Next, we have an arguable Christmas movie, Go. I love Go. I've loved Go since it came out. I always thought it was sort of the young person's version of Pulp Fiction. It takes place with like sort of the rave scene, the drug scene. And it is such an awesome movie by Doug Liman. It has this kinetic energy to it, this action. It's not an action movie per se, but it feels like it because of the way it's shot and edited. And it's just fantastic. Great performances around. It has like 3 or 4 little stories that all coincide and interweave. And a great final act with this movie. I love Go. I think Go is fantastic. And it all takes place during the Christmas season. And the final rave scene is this big Christmas rave with like a trippy Santa blowing smoke and all this stuff. So it's fantastic. I love Go. Guys, check out Go this holiday season if you haven't seen it. It is an underrated little movie. Honestly, I'm going to put that in a ranking. That's top tier Christmas movies for me. Next up is a film that I do want to watch again, the Polar Express animated film. I just remember being so creeped out by this movie. I guess that's part of its charm now. At least my sister claims that that's part of its charm. Tom Hanks is in it. He plays a bunch of different characters. I'm not even going to go into possible jokes about Tom Hanks and an island and a specific person that may or may not be involved. But anyway, he has a train full of kids, and it's based on the old book, which is a beautiful book. I would like to own the book because the artwork is wonderful, digitized sort of 90s artwork. The movie, I don't remember really enjoying too much. It's kind of just like an amusement park ride. I think it's well suited for that kind of thing. I remember some of the first-person shots of the roller coaster was really trippy back in the day when we used to get messed up and watch trippy movies. I had a good friend of mine named Darnell, or D, who would always pull out like the weird trippy movies to watch when you were under the influence, we'll say. And Polar Express was one of them. So I have some fond memories of it, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm going to put it in the C ranking because it's one that I do want to give a shot to again, maybe this Christmas season. I'm not sure. Next one is a film I haven't seen in probably 25, 30 years, to be honest, but I have really fond memories of it, and it just has this warm Christmas nostalgic feeling to it. Great music, obviously. The Nutcracker. The Nutcracker, I remember Macaulay Culkin being in it. I remember that was a big deal because he was coming off of Home Alone. I was really young, guys. I'm talking 4, 5, 6, 7 years old here. But I remember really enjoying this movie. I do want to give it another shot. So I'm going to put that in the B tier ranking because I do remember it giving me warm, fuzzy feelings inside. All right. Next up, we've got 8 Crazy Nights, which is more of a Hanukkah film by Adam Sandler, but it takes place during the season, obviously, and has some Christmas elements to it. And it's just kind of a holiday film with Adam Sandler. It's an animated film. He does the voice. He wrote it and all that kind of stuff. It feels like an Adam Sandler movie, just animated. Very good. I remember enjoying it quite a bit. I haven't seen it in a long time. I am going to put that in the B tier ranking because I do remember enjoying that. Elf is a film with Will Ferrell that a lot of people love from 2003. I am not the hugest fan of. Yeah, I'm not a big Will Ferrell guy, so I do want to rewatch Elf one day. Maybe that'll change, but I'm going to put it in the D tier ranking for now. I'm sorry, all the Elf fans out there. Just not a big fan of this one. Nightmare Before Christmas. What's this? What's this? There's colors everywhere. What's this? There's white things in the air. I love this movie. The music is fantastic. Almost every single song is perfect. It progresses the story. It explains what's happening like musical songs are supposed to do. Jack Skellington is voiced by Chris Sarandon, and the musical voice is Danny Elfman, who also does the music. Honestly, this movie just feels like an Oingo Boingo album. And if you don't know Oingo Boingo, it's Danny Elfman's band from the 80s, and it was one of my favorite 80s bands. So goofy. They work with really weird time signatures. It's like progressive new wave stuff. It's amazing. So definitely, The Nightmare Before Christmas is a Christmas classic for a reason. It is light on plot, but it makes up for it in animation, creativity, music, just wonderful voice acting, great characters, and a fantastic little movie. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm putting that in tier A. Next up is a film that's arguably Christmas, but Edward Scissorhands, another Tim Burton movie. I know Nightmare Before Christmas is not Burton. It's written by him, but it was a Henry Selick film. Edward Scissorhands takes place around that Christmas time. As far as I could remember, has been many years since I've seen it, but I do love the film. One of Tim Burton's best, most atmospheric films when he was at the height of his creativity before he was, as I call it, studio fucked. And Edward Scissorhands is fantastic. It's going in the A ranking. It may even be an S tier ranking. I'd have to rewatch it. Die Hard 2, not as good as Die Hard 1, but damn good. Damn good. Takes place at an airport, very Christmassy, same kind of Christmas themes to it. He's actually trying to save his wife who's in the air. They can't land because of a terrorist kind of situation. John McClane is back. Bruce Willis is just as good in this as he was in the first. The script just isn't quite as strong. The first film was lightning in a bottle in a lot of ways, and I really love the second film. So the only other one that takes place during the Christmas time. So I'm going to put that in the A tier ranking. Still one of my favorites. All right. Let's see here. Next up, we've got National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm not a big fan of this one. I think it's pretty good. I enjoy it for what it is, but I know everybody freaks out over this movie. I think it's okay. I like Vacation and even European Vacation more, but I will put this in the C tier ranking. I still watch it once every few years just for a couple chuckles. And Chevy Chase is fantastic to watch, especially in his prime. At this time, he's just got the bit where he's talking to the beautiful woman selling jewelry. Everything about that is just so improvisational and funny and makes me guffaw with laughter every time. Charlie Brown Christmas is a classic. Obviously, the music is played every year. It's part of the rotation of Christmas music. I love Charlie Brown Christmas. It's been a wonderful little movie that I think everybody should check out every Christmas season. It's not very long. It's a great one. Next up, we have the remake for Miracle. We'll do the original Miracle on 34th Street first, which is a film I haven't seen in a very long time, but I have fond memories of it because my mother and I used to watch it. It was one of her favorites. And I don't have much to say about it, but I do remember it being a staple of my childhood. Quite a good movie. I do need to rewatch it. And Miracle on 34th Street, the remake, not quite as good, but I do have fond memories of it. I think it has the girl from Matilda, if I'm not mistaken, and A Simple Wish, and stuff like that. So that was a decent remake as far as I can remember. Batman Returns takes place around the Christmas time. It has a Christmas tree lighting. I love this film. I watch it almost every Christmas. It gives me those Christmas vibes, but sort of dark and sinister. Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Perfect casting there. Michael Keaton coming back to play Batman. Michelle Pfeiffer as Batwoman. It's fantastic. She's wonderful in the role. I still think the best Catwoman that has ever graced the screen. Maybe Eartha Kitt. But Batman Returns, I've got to put it in the A tier ranking. I think it is fantastic. Many things are happening. Okay. Next up, we have Silent Night, which was an action film that came out a few years ago by John Woo. I was very excited about Silent Night. Did not see it in theaters. I saw it when it came home. I think Silent Night, it came out last year, 2023. Wow. I think his new movie, 2024 film, The Killer, is far better than Silent Night. I think Silent Night was a bit of a drag. It takes about 50 minutes to get to any real action. And there's no dialogue because our main character doesn't speak. And I get what he was trying to go for. The conceit just doesn't really work for me. It's not executed very well. The action, when it finally comes, is okay, but I was so exhausted by the sort of melodramatic Hallmark plot.
It was almost like a satire in the beginning.
Yeah.
We were just like not supposed to be funny, but it was kind of like sad and funny.
Yeah, the tone, they just couldn't quite get the tone right. I'm not sure exactly what they were going for, but I wasn't impressed by it. That one is going in tier D, right next to Elf. The Elf and Silent Night are going to piss a lot of people off. Anna and the Apocalypse is a movie I watched last Christmas with my family, my stepfather and my mother, and I remember enjoying it. We were all pleasantly surprised. It's a weird, surrealist Christmas musical. What the hell was that movie about? Anna and the Apocalypse. Was it zombies? I think it was zombies, if I'm remembering correctly. So Christmas zombies musical, and it's about as fun as it sounds. The music wasn't that great. Some of the songs were pretty good. Not many songs really resonated with me. But I remember the main performance by the main girl, Anna and the Apocalypse. And let's see, what was her name? 2017, this film came out. Ella Hunt was in it, and I thought she did a very good job. Pretty good music, not a bad movie. Anna and the Apocalypse, I'll give that a B tier. Definitely worth watching. Mickey's Christmas Carol, I said earlier that Scrooge might be my favorite of the Christmas Carol movies. Mickey's Christmas Carol is right up there, and I got to put it in the S tier. This is a film I watch every year. It's about 25 minutes long. It's wonderful. It's a perfect miniature, sort of truncated version of A Christmas Carol. What's the word? Abridged version of A Christmas Carol. I think it's fantastic. Scrooge and Mickey's Christmas Carol are the best, in my opinion, versions of the story on screen. Obviously, I've read Charles Dickens' novel. It's fantastic. I highly recommend everybody read that. Next up, we have Lethal Weapon, which is assuredly a Christmas movie, and a damn good one. Takes place at Christmas time. Everything's Christmas, bedazzled with Christmas lights. And Shane Black also wrote this film. It's one of my favorite action comedy movies of all time. It's got a great message about family, which further cements its status as a Christmas classic. Mel Gibson's performance is one of the best ever in an action movie like this, in my opinion. There's no reason for it to be as good. Him and Danny Glover's performance, just so much chemistry there. The passion that Mel Gibson had at this time and the fieriness in his performances. And I love Mel Gibson as an actor and as a director. I think he's fantastic. So I'm going to put Lethal Weapon in the S tier ranking. It's really that good, guys. Lethal Weapon is a phenomenal movie. I love it. Next up, we have Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, another Shane Black Christmas time crime kind of drama, I'll say. Not quite a thriller. It's got some action in it. It's a crime film. Very good movie. Not very Christmassy, I'm not going to lie. It's a bit of a stretch, but it's Shane Black, and I had to stick to my rules. So Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is going in the B tier. Home Alone 1, I think, is one of the best Christmas movies of all time. Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, and Daniel Stern have immaculate chemistry, especially Daniel Stern and Pesci. The two of them are just so funny together. I miss Daniel Stern. I miss Pesci, for that matter. Both these guys really don't act too much anymore. They're older now, I get it. But yeah, this is Home Alone, kind of like Die Hard for kids. What a movie that could have only been made at the time that it was. You know, it takes this really serious subject of like robbers breaking into your house and makes it into this fun Christmas family comedy in only the way that John Hughes could. It's fantastic, guys. What can I say? Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, and a Happy New Year. So that's an S tier ranking. S tier ranking for Home Alone. Next up, we have Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Another great Home Alone film. Not quite, doesn't quite capture the magic of the original, but I think it's fantastic. I watch it every year. Still the great chemistry. Some really good new characters like the Pigeon Lady that has a great Christmas message to it about not judging people and about, caring about people who may need it the most. And it's just a wonderful film. Great music. I didn't mention the music. John Williams, some of the most underrated John Williams music. In my opinion, it's Christmas music. It deserves to be in the rotation with the rest of the Christmas classics, like Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. I'm going to put Home Alone 2 in the A tier ranking. Next up is a film that a lot of people love that I am just not too huge on. I need to watch it again. I want to say it's a film from the Netherlands. Let me make sure I got that right. It is a film from Finland. Okay, well, Finland, France, Norway, Sweden. It's in Finnish, so we'll call it a Finnish film. I think it's a pretty good movie. I need to rewatch it. I don't remember vibing with what it was trying to do very much at all. But my sister loves it. A lot of people love this movie, and I do need to give it another shot. I'm going to put it in the C tier ranking. I don't remember hating it. Ernest Scared Stupid. Not Ernest Scared Stupid. Ernest Saves Christmas. A Christmas classic where I come from. Ernest, a relic of the 90s, somebody who I still watch a few times a year just for some of that nostalgia. I think it holds up actually pretty well. A lot of the Ernest stuff. It's a great character. So funny. Jim Varney was a legend and a one-of-a-kind talent. But Ernest Saves Christmas is a fantastic Christmas movie with Ernest, and I can't recommend it enough. Check it out. Going into the B tier ranking. I'm going to take a sip. I'm not sure if that one's on Blu-ray yet. If it is, let me know. I have the DVD, though. I saw that it is on Disney Plus streaming, and I checked to see, and it was in HD, believe it or not. So that's cool. See Ernest in HD, baby. Next up, we have Deck the Halls. I got to be honest, I don't remember much about this at all. I really don't. I'm just going to put it in the D tier ranking because I did watch it with the family. I just don't remember liking it at all. Excuse me for a second. Can you please stop? Going into the garbage. All right. Everything decided to happen as soon as I started live streaming today. I wasn't expecting all of it, so sorry about the noise in the background and everything, guys. Next up, we have Christmas in Connecticut, one of the worst Christmas movies I've ever seen, a remake of the original Christmas in Connecticut. The only reason why I watched it was because it is directed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, directed by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he has a cameo, too. I talked about this movie in a video I did, early scripted video that I did on my channel called 6 Shitty Schwarzenegger Movies or something like that. So check that out. It's garbage. Never watch it. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Christmas with the Cranks is pretty okay, down the road, middle of the road Christmas film. With the only reason why I think it's passable is because of Jamie Lee Curtis and the best Christmas curmudgeon, Tim Allen. I think it's a middle of the road movie. Not terrible, not great, but one that I do watch every few years just for the chuckles and the warm-heartedness. Christmas Chronicles, Kurt Russell stars as Santa, whose sleigh goes down, and 2 kids find it, and then they have to, I don't remember much about the plot. All I remember is that they're trying to prove that Santa, let me look up the plot on that one. Christmas Chronicles. All right. Yeah. Siblings Kate and Teddy try to prove Santa Claus is real, but when they accidentally cause a sleigh to crash, they have to save Christmas. That's right. Okay. Now it's coming back to me. I remember really enjoying this film, a warm-hearted Christmas movie, and I love Kurt Russell, especially in a role like that where he's just hamming it up. Fun movie. I'm going to put that in B tier. Muppet Christmas Carol is, again, one of the best Christmas Carol movies out there. It's wonderful top to bottom. It's got Michael Caine as Scrooge. Not my favorite portrayal of Scrooge, but I think a solid one. The reason why you watch this movie is because of the Muppets and the song and dance and the atmosphere. It's a great Christmas, Jim Henson, Victorian atmosphere. I really love Muppet Christmas Carol. Not my favorite, Christmas Carol movie. I still like Scrooge and Mickey's a little bit more, but Muppets is right up there. Bad Santa, a really solid Christmas comedy that I go to every few years. It's crude. It's irreverent. Probably pissed a lot of people off at the time. Billy Bob plays this kind of down and dirty, shyster kind of guy who meets this young kid and sparks up a friendship with him, even though he hates him at first. And it's just a really heartwarming film about a guy finding the Christmas spirit. It is definitely made for adults. It's got sex, nudity, drinking, drugs, violence, all that kind of stuff. But Bad Santa is definitely worth watching for you adults out there and all you young adults. Bad Santa is going in the B tier. Next up, Jingle All the Way. Turbo Man. I love Jingle All the Way. I just watched this with my buddy Michael. Hey, Michael, if you're watching. He didn't like it too much, but that's okay. I understand that a lot of my love for it is nostalgia. I'm not making this up. There must have been a 2-year span where I watched Jingle All the Way almost every single day. It was around the time that my parents were divorcing, and I think I found solace and comfort in the fact that it was a Christmas movie that I really loved that came out around that time. But that reminded me of the Christmas season and sort of the joyous nature of that time. And so I kept going back to it time after time after time. Throughout a year or two, and it still has a special place in my heart. I could quote it till the cows come home. I love it. I just watched the director's cut for the first time, which had some scenes in it that I was like, "What the hell?" I don't remember that. Like the crooked Santa Claus is singing, but breaking out in song. That was pretty funny. Kind of out of place, but kind of funny. I love Jingle All the Way. Sinbad and Arnie's chemistry is fantastic. Jake Lloyd is better than he is in Phantom Menace, but that's not saying too much. He's okay in it. He's reasonable in it. But it's really about Arnie and Sinbad and sort of their cat and mouse that they have going on. It's such a great movie. It's the most wonderful time. He's got two. It's fantastic. That's going in A tier ranking. That is nostalgia tinged, no doubt about it. Next up, we have the Michael Keaton, Jack Frost, a heartwarming story about a man who dies and comes back as a snowman. That's right. The 90s were wild. I remember liking this movie for what it was. It was heartwarming, kind of family movie that my family gathered around the TV for back in 97 or 98, whenever it came out. And Michael Keaton's good in it, as he always is, charming. And it's not bad. I remember it having good effects. I'll put it in C tier. Not the worst. Not the worst in the world. All right. Next up, we've got Gremlins, the classic Gremlins, which takes place around the season. Definitely feels like a Christmassy movie to me. About the Mogwai and the Gremlins and the, feeding after midnight and them losing their minds and watching Snow White, was it? And wreaking havoc all throughout the town, sort of like a dark Looney Tunes episode. Joe Dante, top of his game here in 1984. I love Gremlins. It's a fantastic movie. It's got to go in the A tier ranking for sure. A Christmas story, a horror Christmas story. A film that I'm nostalgic for and have fond memories of because my brothers and my sister gathered around the TV a few years ago and popped on a streaming service, and we're looking for a Christmas horror movie. And we found A Christmas Horror Story, which is an anthology film that is mostly really bad, but has some really confounding moments in it that make it all worthwhile, especially if you're watching it with a few people. But not the most memorable thing in the world. I do remember the twist about this crazy Santa Claus who thought he was like slaying elves or something, and he was killing people. Or he was killing the elves. I don't know. It was crazy at the end. Anthology film. Let me tell you, the artwork is far better than the film. Far better. I'm gonna put it in the D tier ranking. Fun to watch with friends. I saw. This is so funny. I remember I was doing eBay work at my mom's house on Christmas, and they were watching Christmas movies, and they had this movie on, and I remember watching pretty much the whole thing and thinking it was pretty decent. A Boy Called Christmas. Now, I don't remember much about it because, like I said, I was kind of half paying attention, but it seemed nice and sweet and sort of heartwarming and a nice Christmas atmosphere to it, and my family seemed to like it. So I'm going to put that in the C tier rank. There we go. We're running out of space here. Next up, last row of movies here. We have another Christmas Carol movie, Jim Carrey's A Christmas Carol, directed by Robert Zemeckis, animated film, done in the style of, what was it? He did a few films like this, like Beowulf. And a lot of people aren't big fans of this Christmas Carol, but I think it's a pretty solid one with Jim Carrey, who's right at home as playing an animated character of Scrooge. It's got some just great CG. It's got some really wondrous action adventure scenes I think are really good. I like this movie. Not my favorite, but I do like it a little bit less than Christmas Carol, but still B tier, not bad. 8-Bit Christmas is really appealed to me because it was about a little boy growing up in the late 80s. I was born in 88, but, same time frame. And all he wanted for Christmas wasn't a Nintendo, an original Nintendo system. And he goes out of his way. It's sort of like A Christmas Story with Nintendo. Or what is it more so like? It's kind of like I guess it's done in the style of like A Christmas Story kind of thing, where he just wants this Nintendo as opposed to the Red Ryder BB gun or whatever it was in A Christmas Story. And A Christmas Story, yeah, I do have there. Okay. But 8-Bit Christmas, I thought was a pretty serviceable holiday film. It does, the ending doesn't really vibe with me too well. It's one of those like, oh, it doesn't matter. The gifts don't matter. It's about family and love. And I don't know. I wanted to see the kid get the damn NES, but spoilers, I don't remember him getting it. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I like it more than Christmas Story. Oh, controversy. I know, controversy. Carry On, my newest film on the list here. Carry On is a Christmas Eve action thriller, we'll say, with more thrills than action, but still a phenomenal film by Jaume Collet Serra, who is known for making a bunch of the Liam Neeson action films, like, what's the one? Run All Night, which is my favorite of them. But he's got a few others that are really good. Carry On might be his best work yet. Taron Egerton, the guy from Secret Service, Kingsman, is really good in this role as sort of, he's like John McClane, but less physical, we'll say. He doesn't shoot anybody. He's not like doing these big action sequences. He's trying to outsmart the villain and using his environment and clues around the environment to find out what's going on and try to save the people around him, including his girlfriend. And the villain is played by, is it Jason Bateman? in a really surprising sort of modern villain, techie modern villain performance. Let's see. Jason Bateman plays the villain, as the Traveler. Really good performance by him. Really good cat and mouse kind of thing they've got going on, the two of them. Guys, check out Carry On this holiday season if you haven't seen it. If you're in the mood for sort of a Die Hard-like action thriller. Excellent. I'm going to put that in the A tier rank. Definitely one I'll be watching year after year. Enemy of the State, I don't think I should have included this one in terms of Christmas movies, even though it takes place literally at Christmas. It doesn't have very many Christmas themes. It's about government surveillance and things like that, which were way ahead of its time and prescient in 97 when this came out, because at this point, all governments are spying on all of us. So Enemy of the State gets a lot of things right, but it's not much of a Christmas movie. It does take place during Christmas, sort of in a Shane Black kind of way. There's Christmas trees and lights all around, and I think it takes place in D.C. So a good city atmosphere there. It's an awesome movie, so I'm going to put it in my A-tier ranking. I think it's a fantastic film, just not the best Christmas one, I guess. Star Wars Holiday Special is fun to watch with people for its nostalgic value and its cultural, historical value, but it is absolutely abysmal. That might belong near Black Christmas and Christmas in Connecticut, but no, I think because it's Star Wars and because it has Mark Hamill and Han Solo and all the classic characters, it's going to go in the D tier. Here's a controversial one. I am not the biggest fan of A Christmas Story. I just am not the biggest fan. I can't get down with the sort of mundane slice of life style of filmmaking here with the narration and him trying to get this toy for Christmas, and it just doesn't vibe with me. I liked 8-Bit Christmas more because it was kind of like a Nintendo version of that movie. I know it's heresy to say these things, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's an okay Christmas movie, right down the middle. So I'm going to say Christmas Story, C tier ranking. Next up, we have an excellent Christmas horror movie called Better Watch Out. We're going to put that one. Yeah, Shredder is not Christmas. It's more winter. Yeah. Better Watch Out is an A tier. Awesome twist halfway into this movie. I don't want to spoil it. Great characters, great atmosphere here. Really killer. I can't talk about the plot without spoiling it. But essentially somebody comes into the house and the kids have to hide and the plot unfolds from there. But it is creepy, atmospheric, awesome. Better Watch Out. Definitely check that one out. Dear Santa is another one of the newer films on this list with Jack Black. It's about a little boy. It's by one of the Farrelly brothers. It's about a little boy who, I want to say Bobby, who writes a letter to Santa, but he misspells Santa, and he spells Satan. So he sends a letter to Satan, which is the dumbest conceit for a plot ever. It's kind of like an 80s kind of thing. It maybe would have worked in the 80s, early 90s. Jack Black is in it. He's the reason to watch it. He's funny, as he usually is. He's very good in the role. The improvisation that he does is obvious and very, very good. But the script just doesn't really hold things together. And honestly, Peter seems to be a better filmmaker. Just very stilted dialogue and unbelievable dialogue coming from these two little kids. Not my favorite Christmas comedy of all time. So I'm going to put that in the D tier ranking, right next to Star Wars Holiday Special. Next up, I'm going to do Pluto's Christmas Tree. This is a classic Christmas short that I've got to put in the A tier ranking. I love it. It's a great one I watch every year. So check that one out. Next up, we have another childhood favorite of mine. I love this movie. I've loved it for a very long time. It goes by multiple names. I grew up watching it as March of the Wooden Soldiers. My mom put me onto this one. Black and white film from the 30s. Laurel and Hardy, wonderful music, wonderful set design, great story, funny as hell still to this day, almost 100 years later. It's also called Babes in Toyland, which was remade a couple times later on. One of them has a young Keanu Reeves from the 80s. March of the Wooden Soldiers is definitely A-tier stuff, almost S-tier. I love it. It's not an S-tier movie. It's just a great nostalgic classic. Watch it in black and white. Do not watch it in color like they recolored it. And last but not least here, I have Some of you may argue that this is a Christmas movie. I'm going to say it is. First Blood, Rambo, the first Rambo movie, takes place during Christmas about a Vietnam War vet who comes home and is being treated poorly, as a lot of them were, kind of being spit on by the locals and by the police and kind of just being belittled and abused. And his hand is forced at a certain point to defend himself. And you guys know First Blood. Why am I describing Rambo? Rambo's awesome, especially the scenes in the jungle. But the scenes that really remind me of Christmas are in the third act, where it's nighttime and there's Christmas lights in the little city, and he's running from the police. And it's just a fantastic movie that takes place during Christmas. I'm not going to say it's a Christmas movie. Thematically, I'd have to think about it a little bit. I guess it is about, him finding people or loved ones or friends or anybody that he could share the season with, and he can't, and then he has to, take a whole bunch of them out because he's Rambo. The first Rambo is fantastic. Obviously, that's an S tier movie. So I'm going to move that right up, despite it not being, the most Christmassy of the movies on my list. So, wow, I am winded. I just talked for an hour straight and did like 70-something movies. I am all done here. This is one last look at the tier ranking. I'm going to use this website more often. They make it really easy, and it's free, tiermaker.com. So I thought this was a really fun and easy way to kind of do a tier ranking along with you guys, and you could see where I land on all these. So there you go. Take a picture if you wanted to take a closer look at what I put where. But that's it right there, guys. This one I had a double of, so that's why I didn't do the Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. But awesome. That's going to do it for this live stream, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. I didn't have too many people during the live stream, but I kind of just treated this as a video, just kind of a one-take video, which I surprisingly did very well, despite a few distractions that I didn't anticipate. So forgive that. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. I tried to speak a little bit louder when there was noise going on. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Hit the little bell for notifications, the thumbs up, all those little nicks and knacks that I always forget about and never know how to articulate properly. I've got a new Thriftin' video filmed that I will be getting out. I'm also doing a 2024 film ranking, my favorite films from 2024. That should be out by the end of the year. That's my goal. And I'm going to try to live stream once a week and just make more videos, guys, and kind of, feel for, just get a feel for the live streaming thing and try to come up with a better setup and all that, because we have good internet here. I'm not sure how it's coming across right now, but I am far away from it. There are just things I need to tweak and make a little bit better, but hopefully you guys bore with me here, and I hope you enjoyed this little Christmas ranking video of like 75 Christmas films. Anyway, guys, until next time, TheBoredCyborg is out. Peace. End stream. End of line. Oh.